How's it going, everyone? Cyclops from Paramount Cyclops here, and I hope your day is getting ready to either wind down and you've had a good day and you're ready to relax with your relaxation of choice, whether it be a video game, a movie, the family, a beer, some green, whatever. Good for you and more power to you. And if your day is just starting, then I hope you have a wonderful day. Here in New Mexico, we are nothing if quite progressive. I know New Mexico doesn't really get into the news a lot, and so a lot of people like New Mexico. Yeah, we're pretty progressive here. We're quite progressive, actually. Well, good thing or bad thing, I leave that up to your opinion. I'm not here to change your opinion. I'm here to dispense information as I see fit, give my own opinion, and let you form your own opinion. This story was a little bit harder to get some multiple sources of information other than quite literally the actual dry proposition, which isn't really a proposition. It's not really a bill that is easily understood. And I've read a few bills. So, this is the source that I got. KOAT7 Action News, Albuquerque. Undocumented immigrants could get state stimulus money. State lawmakers pass a bill that would give $750 to anybody who didn't get federal relief. But the problem is it doesn't really state who gets the money, per se. It's kind of up for debate and discussion. They don't know how the money is going to be spent. They don't know who it's going to go to. But yeah, it's we are very progressive here in New Mexico. Did I mention that? If you didn't get a federal stimulus check earlier this year, it could be a good Thanksgiving for you. The state will be handing out $750 checks of their own soon, but some question who the checks might be going to. We are very progressive in New Mexico. Yes. And we're also one of the poorest states as well. Did I mention that? Yeah. There's a reason we're one of the poorest states. There's a reason. I mean, our leadership has not been known to be like the best, and our governor is recommended to be on Biden's cabinet. So I mean, continuing, it's not clear how that money is going to get spent, and it's not real clear the issue about immigrants, said Representative Zach Cook, Republican, Ruidoso, who is one of 17 Republican lawmakers who voted against the state's COVID relief bill earlier this week. Yeah. We are very progressive here in New Mexico. Did I tell you that? And we're the poorest state. Like one of the poorest states, if not the poorest. I don't know if we're the poorest. I know there were times when we dipped into the poorest, and then at one time we were like the fourth poorest when they were shooting out Rio Rancho, and it was sprouting like youngsters out in the woods, just houses springing up everywhere, just crazy. Yeah, unbelievable. We're progressive. We are very progressive. According to state documents, thousands of New Mexico still didn't qualify earlier this year to receive the $1,200 federal stimulus check because of their immigration status. In order to get the money, you had to be in the country legally and make less than $75,000. Now, my question is this. Feel free to comment below, please, because I want to know. This is my genuine question. When I say I have a question, I'm actually genuinely asking a question. That criteria. Would anybody have a problem with this? Anybody making over $75,000 a year doesn't really need a single check for $1,200, do they? I mean, that money would be more well spent on people making less than that. Can we agree on that point? So if we can agree on that point, then what is wrong with this point? to be in the country legally. What is wrong with that? I mean, look, on a loose interpretation, if I was not from the United States and I was, let's say, a Canadian citizen, and I wanted $1,200 from this, then I could come down to here into the States. If this logic applied nationally, I could come down here to the States and say, well, I'm here and I make less than $75,000. I'm not here legally, but, now your bill says it doesn't matter if you're here legally, so give me the money. And then go right back up to Canada. And the same thing applies south of the border. Why wouldn't we want it to go to United States citizens? I mean, loosely, if we want to expand this up, so I like to take things to what's called the natural absurd conclusion. If we take this logic and we expand it and take it to an absurd conclusion, but an absurd conclusion that falls necessarily from the same logic, then it's like taking a magnifying glass to the problem. So, you could loosely, if you change the law and say anybody who makes under $75,000, but we take out this legally word right here and we say just in the country, then what would stop the entire world from saying, okay, what date does that stimulus check comes in the United States? Okay, it comes in on June 15th of this year. Okay. And then everybody from the country a week before there flies into the country and spends a week here, applies for it because they make under 75,000. They match that criteria, and because they are in the country, regardless of legality, then they apply there, and then they get the money, and then they fly home. That's the absurd, but natural, logical conclusion. That's why there's an issue with this. Because here's the thing. Each time, as much as everybody's out there saying, oh, Cyclops, you're being ridiculous, you're being hyperbolic. Well, here's the thing. Every time we make a step, getting rid of that word and changing the criteria, we take one step towards that natural absurd conclusion, which then makes that natural absurd conclusion not quite so absurd the closer to it we get. When the legislature passed the $330 million relief package Tuesday to mainly help businesses and people unemployed, it included this. Yes, just so people that are sitting at home doing nothing. And I'm not talking about the individuals who genuinely are staying home. I am addressing the individuals that I know that are doing it, and individuals that I don't know but are still doing the same thing. You know what I mean. Who are purposely staying at home, and yet they're making more money than I am because of all this extra money. And yet, I go to work every day, and evidently going to work, I'm risking my life every day to try to contribute to society, because society has helped me out. Society helped get me off homelessness. Society helped me get to where I am, and I feel like I owe society. My money from work is pretty much just become more like blow money nowadays. I get my checks. I haven't even deposited the last 4 checks. I got 4 checks sitting there. So I'm working because I feel like it's necessary, and there's other people that are just gaming the system. And you all know people are out there doing that. I mean, and I'm not saying everybody. Everybody's so sensitive, but I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying those that are gaming the system. The assistance includes assistance to low-income state residents of up to $750 per household, provided that the eligible recipient did not receive an economic impact payment pursuant to the federal Corona aid. Hopefully that messes with the YouTube algorithm. Corona. Sounds like cereal. Bola Coroni. Relief and Economic Security Act. So if you didn't get the federal thing. So basically, if a United States citizen, you're not getting this money from New Mexico. We are very progressive here. And we're like one of the poorest states in the nation. I don't know if I mentioned that. If you didn't file a 2018 or 2019 tax return, you weren't able to get the federal stimulus. Just, how much more can you just... If you didn't file a tax return because you weren't in the country under a legal status, then we're going to give you money. So, if I was in another country right now, I'd look at New Mexico and be like, you can give $750. $750 in some countries is a lot of money. All right, hell yeah, let's go to New Mexico for a week. We'll collect this $750 because, hey, we're poor, we don't make any money, and we're here. We exist. We're here. Under that same logic, everybody in the world, and honestly, it's by mail anyways. So what on earth is to stop everybody in the world from just mailing in a request for this? Because it's all done by mail nowadays. Or online. So it's going to stop this. And people will game the system. Welcome to reality. Not all human beings are, benign, loving, law-abiding people. Imagine that. I hate pointing it out because I always end up getting the crap end of the stick for simply pointing out that evil exists. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? Okay, go ahead. Go to the Middle East on your bicycle and bicycle across the Middle East as an American whiter than frickin' cottage cheese. Go ahead. It would not be well advised because evil exists, and I'm bringing up that example because people have done it and it didn't work out well for them. A real life situation. Two Norwegian girls or Swedish girls, somewhere in that region, wanted to bicycle across the Middle East to prove that evil didn't exist. Needless to say, they did not make it home. They were introduced to the religion of peace. Religion of peace. Eagle said you have to prove you live in New Mexico to get a check that would not rule out undocumented immigrants. How? How do you prove it? How do you prove it? Every time we come up on these things where you got to prove you live there, it comes out where it's like, well, there are so many loopholes and so many ways. What was the recent one? People took a business and took the business address for the business, but after the business address for the business, put an apartment number, and somehow that got registered and put in as a legal address. There are folks who are in this country who are experiencing just as much hardship because of COVID and contribute just as much and sometimes more than their fellow New Mexico residents, Eagle said. Nobody's denying that. Nobody's saying that they don't. What I'm saying is this: you are opening the door for more who won't to game the system. Yes, there are a lot. Every single race, every single country, every single ethnicity, every single group, every single blah, 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 blah. Within them, they have good and they have bad. Reality, hey, welcome to reality. That's just the way it is. It's life. It's reality. Not everybody's good, not everybody's bad. But the more that you show that you're willing to circumvent the law and give money to people who are here not legally, you are encouraging more of that behavior, which then encourages more of that behavior, which then puts a strain on all resources down the line. We can't feed the world. We can't take care of the world as much as I wish we could. We don't have that kind of money. I mean, by the end of Biden's administration, we're predicted to be what? $27 trillion in debt? $27 trillion in debt. And here we are advertising in the poorest state of the nation, one of the poorest states in the nation. I don't know what number we are, 2, 3, 4. I think the last time I looked, we were number 2, and that was only a few months ago, if I remember. And we are literally advertising that we are circumventing federal law and saying, hey, we're not giving money to U.S. citizens. We're giving money to people who are here under legally challenged circumstances. You're going to have to prove you live here. But you know people are going to find a way around that. Because people always do. There are some smart people out there that use those brains for nefarious purposes. Fact. I don't know what to do. I get beat in the head for presenting fact as I see it. Fact, 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 fact. Okay? I guarantee you, a few minutes ago when I said about the bicyclists and that religion of peace thing. Okay, well, if you declare a religion of peace, then why did that religion of peace take 2 young females and do what they did to them, if it is the religion of peace? Just because you call something something doesn't mean that I automatically have to view it as that. I will hear what you say and say religion of peace. Well, that sounds interesting. Let me see what it looks like. Let me see this. And then you look into it and there are things that make you say, really? And that's all religions. No religion is free of controversies and free of violent times. Reality. This channel is soaked in reality. Which I've been thinking is probably one of the reasons that this channel has a hard time growing. Because it's based in such reality that perhaps people have a hard time accepting reality. But here's the thing. Whether you believe in reality or not, reality is happening all around you. And my way of trying to protect you is to show you all sides, the good, the bad, the ugly, the triumphant, the victorious, and the absolute failures. Imagine those 2 Swedish girls if somebody had sat them down and said, I know, I understand that beautiful heart and soul of yours where you want to say there's no evil in the world. But I'm telling you that there is, and sat them down and showed them and educated them. These girls grew up in a bubble, an echo chamber where their ideas were just bounced back and forth, and they just wanted to prove to the world that their ideas were correct. And it ended very painfully for them. And do not apologize on a base level for bringing you reality. I'll apologize I'm sorry that I have to bring you reality, but these are things we need to know. If we're going to grow up, if we're going to vote as a nation, if we're going to move ahead as a nation, if we're going to survive as a nation, if we're going to reform as a nation, then we need to be informed correctly. And we need to communicate. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.